Stay a while and listen.
Going to the Renaissance Fair next week. I'm excited. I didn't get to go last year, obviously, because of the COVID.
Yes, for obvious reasons.
Can't wait.
I think maybe we've already discussed this, but just on the off chance that we haven't, I've never been to a Renaissance Fair.
Oh my god. Ugh. I mean, you never went as a kid on like a school trip or anything even?
Never. Not a one time. I have somehow made it to the ripe old age of 33 without ever going to a Renaissance Fair even one time.
But you've been to state fairs, I know.
I have been to state fairs. Yes, I have been to state fairs, and I've been to medieval times, but I have not actually been to...
The Renaissance Fair is essentially a state fair.
Yeah.
With just like a slightly higher ratio of shows to food.
Okay.
Like, the main reason you go is to eat food, like turkey legs and stuff, right? It's just like a state fair in that sense.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. And so, I mean, I have absolutely eaten a turkey leg at a state fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like you just didn't do it with like the woman wearing a corset who was handing you the turkey leg. That's the difference, essentially.
And quote unquote knights fighting in the quote unquote background.
Okay, I mean, yeah, you don't get jousting shows. I mean,
it depends on the state fair, I guess, but
they're like it's full plate, like it's jousting, like it's cool.
I bet. I mean, like I said, I've been to medieval times, so it's like I've seen jousting, and you've
seen it,
and I've eaten turkey legs.
Yeah, that's the experience. And drink alcohol, which I'm sure you were doing while eating your turkey leg.
Yes, it was definitely. I guess it was mostly beer.
Yeah,
because it's like Minnesota is like the Minnesota State Fair. It's like, I mean, a lot of breweries up there, so there was definitely a significant amount of the beer drinking along with the food eating and the deep frying. Oof, a lot of the deep frying.
Oh, bacon wrapped pickles. Oh,
no, that sounds delicious.
So good. I can't wait.
The worst thing that I ever ate at the State Fair was a deep fried cheeseburger. That was a mistake. God.
Yeah, that sounds instant diarrhea.
Well, yeah, I mean, yes, so true. And then also, it was the first thing that I ate, which was a huge mistake because it completely filled me up for everything else. Because it's like, basically what this thing amounted to, right, is it was like a slider, like a little tiny baby slider that was encased in, I shit you not, like an inch and a half of batter all around.
Oh.
It was like having to eat through a donut to get to a tiny cheeseburger in the center. Yeah, it was a mistake. I should not have eaten that. I have a lot of
conflicting emotions thinking about that food stuff.
It was a bad time, so I didn't need to do that. Need to do that.
At least you didn't order a foot-long chili dog right before going on like a roller coaster.
Yeah,
because I did that. That was a mistake.
That's a terrible idea. Really jostle it around,
And it wasn't even technically a roller coaster. It was a ride that like all it did was just spin you around as fast as possible. So it was like the worst part of a roller coaster.
Oh, okay. So it was a centrifuge for this.
It was a centrifuge, yeah, but like a vertical centrifuge.
For this chili dog.
For the chili dog, yeah, exactly. It's just like, oh my god, why did I do this to myself?
Break it up into constituent parts and then fling them outside of your body.
I kept it in. Okay. I was not losing that chili dog.
Mazel tov.
Thank you.
Oh, before I forget, I'll cut this back into the beginning, but I have something for the cold open. Stay a while and listen.
Oh my god.
I gotta cut that into the cold open. So
that's quite a treasure there you have in your Two Brothers podcast.
Oh geez, there we go. Okay, I won't digress us into Diablo too much too quickly because I know that's all coming.
Any more anime?
Yes. So, what have I watched since that
last
time?
Month?
Yeah, well, because I mean, as we'll discuss, there was quite a significant bit of Diablo playing that interfered with my regularly scheduled anime watching that is become tradition on the podcast. But that being said, because some time has passed between the last podcast and this one, I'll note to viewers, listeners. I will note to listeners that Yeah, I'm a little bit delinquent on getting the last podcast out. At the time of this recording, I still haven't finished, so it will be done soon. I'm close. But of course, by the time you listen to this, God knows when this one will come out. So just know that, yes, I was aware that I was woefully behind.
Yeah, for shame, Jason. For shame, I say as the person who does no work.
Yes.
The podcast.
Ah, jeez. But yeah, so no, I watched the entirety of Hikaru No Go.
Oh, right, yeah, you were telling me about that. Yeah.
Yeah, on I believe, because I mean, you were like, oh, you should watch some other sports animes, and I was like, okay. So I looked up some others.
Hikaru No Go. It's fucking that's the great choice. Just perfect.
Yeah, it was an interesting. God, it's old though. Holy shit. It was a little bit jarring, like going from fucking Haikyuu, which is like just immaculately like animated. Like it's just a beautiful fucking anime, to Hikaru No Go, which is like looking at like a potato. Like it's fine, but my God. It's just, woof. It's like original Gundam levels of anime. Maybe not quite that bad, but it's pretty bad. So yeah, Hikaru No Go. I found it very, I wasn't sure if I was into it at the beginning. I was kind of like, okay, this is fine, I guess. But it did really pick up, and it became really, really good. Like after, I think maybe like, called 10, 15 episodes.
Oh, that's soon. Okay. Yeah, that's essentially just like half an arc or I guess a full arc technically.
Yeah. It definitely picked up. It's like the initial kind of bit, I was like, is it just going to be like Ghosty Boy playing Go, or like is he ever going to like actually become good at it? But like the whole like journey of him actually like, you know, learning to play Go was interesting. I didn't learn anything about Go in the course of the anime. Unfortunately.
I mean, you learned the rules of Go, which is all there is.
That's the thing, man. And like, I was
obviously, but
I was talking to Lauren while we were playing, because, you know, I mean, I play a fair bit of chess. Like, I like online chess, and I play it, you know, a fair bit. And I have worked my way up to the lowest level of good. Let me just put it that way. Of like I'm shit. But, like, compared to people that, like, don't play chess, like, I could beat most people that I come across. But when I play online chess, I get my shit kicked in because these are people that play chess. So it's like, okay. So that's where I'm at. Like, I'm at the level where it's like I could look at a board and I could be like, okay, I generally understand what's going on in this game right now. When I look at a Go board, it's just like they end the game in Go so often in that, and I'm just like, yeah, but why? Why now? Like, it seems like there's so few stones on the board. How do you know that the game is over? And it's like, no, there's nothing to play for. It's just like, but how do you know that?
The territories have already been established.
And like, that's, I feel like the lower, like the floor for like being able to understand Go, like what is going on in the game is so much higher than chess, because it's just so much more abstract. You know, like in chess, it's like, oh, that guy has a queen and that guy doesn't have his queen anymore. I think the guy that still has his queen is winning. And that's going to be a pretty safe bet in most circumstances. Whereas in Go, it's like, oh, they've placed an equal number of stones, but this guy's stones are arranged in a more advantageous way. So I guess he wins. Like, it is lost on me.
It's not as, if you played like 2 or 3 games, like if we played against each other, because I'm also terrible at Go, you would pretty quickly like get it.
You is that the way? Is that what I'm lacking?
You wouldn't be good at it. I want to be clear. You would be terrible still, and you would remain terrible forever. But you would be like, okay, I see what's happening. You would still be baffled half the time, but like it's just like, you know, it's simpler than it appears. Right? It's like, when you look at a board and it's like, okay, that white guy has a whole bunch of open space there. It's like, that's because that's his territory. And like, that's it. Right? It's like, there's nothing complex about it. It's like, it is what it is exactly what it seems to be. It's just, if you haven't like played it, you don't, I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's like, it's very much a click thing. Like, you get it, it clicks with you and you're like, okay, I see. and then you realize how complex it is, and you're like, okay, I never want to like get good at this game. It's ridiculous.
I played some like smaller games like against a computer, and like
that's really hard. That's tough because the computer is not like it has no personality.
Yeah, and like what I found trouble, and maybe I'm just bad at pattern recognition. I don't know what it is, but like I would play, and I'm like, I don't understand how it's beating me. Like I don't understand what's happening here. And this is the thing that like we were doing while we were watching the show is like, because they show the boards, right? And we'd like try to figure out who the hell was winning, and it's like, oh, it seems like black is winning, and it's like, oh, black has nothing to play for anymore. It's like, wait, what? It's like, but black has so much stuff. It's like, no, because white has surrounded that territory and black can't possibly stop them, so they're screwed. It's just like, but then you show me a board like 2 minutes later that looks almost exactly the same, except for now white has properly.
Yeah, there's like, it's literally like one stone is one square to like the upper right, and it changes the entire like everything about everything.
And I
it's 100% pattern recognition. I mean, that's that is it.
And I understand that they're like life and death problems in Go are like the thing that you study to understand this better. And I understand the concept of like creating eyes to like conceptually, I don't understand how to do it.
Yeah. Well, so that's why I would say if you played against me, you'd have a lot of fun, right? Because like when you play against a computer, it has no personality. And so you're just like, you're literally fighting a pattern.
Yeah.
Whereas if you played me, you would like, you know, it would be like playing like a game of like an RTS game against me.
Yeah.
Right? It's like you would get a feel for like, oh, he's trying to invade my territory here. I should stop him by putting a wall up. And then you kind of like, okay, I see what's happening. It's just a battle simulator. Or, you know, to some people it's an art form. Battle simulators like the old Chinese way, I think, of looking at the game. And I think the meta has evolved. There's also the fact that like it's thousands of years older than chess.
Yeah.
So that also gives it another like level of like people have figured out the rules and then figured out the figuring out of the rules, etc.
Yeah, and it's just like because of just like the amount of moves you can make, it has more possible complexity than chess does. Yes. You know, the ceiling for the number of moves that legal moves you could make in chess is astronomically high, but the amount in Go is orders of magnitude more astronomically high than it is in chess.
To the point where we thought no computer could ever do it.
Yeah, well, and you know,
we were wrong about that.
Yeah, well, that's interesting because, like, you know, I mean, we were certainly not incorrect in the way we were thinking about it, because in the traditional sense, right?
Yes,
like you can't. Yeah, you can't make a chess computer or a Go computer the way that you can make a chess computer, where you could basically allow it to calculate positions the way that something like Stockfish or Houdini, which are like some of the big chess engines, do.
Yeah, exactly.
But like the way that, and I know you know this, but for the benefit of our audience who might have not spent a lot of time talking about AI computers, is like, because the fucking like computers that do Go are essentially like, you know, secret sausage machines, where it's like you tell it the rules of Go and then it plays itself for like, you know, 1,000 computer years and then comes out the other side like, oh, okay, I've mastered Go now, you know, and we don't know the inner workings. It's like we don't understand the calculations that are happening in the hidden layer in between. Like, you know, it's basically like a computer programming itself to do something, which, you know, as you can imagine, if you can get a computer to do that, it's going to do it a lot better than a human being could possibly do it, because it's, you know, understands its own inner workings.
If you've never heard of like AlphaGo or any of this like this stuff about a computer beating Go players, I would really check out the AlphaGo documentary, just for anyone listening, just because it's a nice, you know, slightly dramatized account of this whole like period of a few years where they were trying to develop this Go playing robot, and it playing against like the world champions and beating them to everyone's like shock.
Well, and that's, it's funny because, like, you know, in the anime, right? Like, they're always talking about, oh, playing the divine move, and I mean, literally, yes. I think like
there was that.
Yeah, the computer basically did that because, like, I mean, there was, because I remember following it as it was happening, and there was this one point where the computer, like, it was against is Lee Sedol.
Yeah,
I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Stop playing and like take a break for 30 minutes.
Yeah, because the computer played a move that he was like, "Oh, that looks like a mistake," and they like looked at they were like,
that's right.
They were like, has something malfunctioned in the computer? Because it's like, that seems weird. And then it was like 10 moves later, they were like, oh, fuck. It's like, that wasn't a mistake. That was an amazing move.
Yeah.
It read so far ahead of where things were going to go that, like, it led him down a path, and he was like, well, shit. He fucking got me.
Yeah.
Fucking got me. And, like, that concept actually got, I don't know if you followed this at all or were familiar with it, but, like, so, obviously, like, the idea of a learning computer, like what is it called, like what is the
neural
term
net.
for that, a neural
Deep
net
learning?
Thank you. Yeah, deep learning and like a neural net, right? I mean, like, people not everybody has Google behind them to do this and use their computing power, but there's another team that created a chess engine called Leela Chess Zero, which is the exact same concept, is like a start from zero algorithm that learned chess. And like, it is now one of the top chess engines as well, because it's the way that it plays is much different from like the pure calculation chess engines, like Stockfish, where it has a much different play style because of the way that it does it. And some of its like early games, against Stockfish were super interesting, because it's like, it would play moves that you're like, huh? But like, one of the really interesting concepts that like I saw in its early games, and I don't know if it's still really they've evolved the calculation engines, like the A/B trimming calculation engines like Stockfish and stuff, in response to this engine being so powerful. And of course, everything's gotten better. So I mean, it's great for everybody, right? It's like chess engines getting better is always a nice thing, because it means that they're able to be even more like better utilized by like human players in like figuring out their own games. But like one of its early games, it did this one thing where it's like it was down pieces, right? Like it had fewer it was down like a whole rook. So it's like Stockfish had 2 rooks, it only had 1, but it had trapped the opponent's rook up in the corner such that it really couldn't get out. So it's like, from the chess engine perspective, like, it was like, it's not in play. Like, I don't give a shit about it. It's just like, it's up there. It's not getting out. Ever. Yeah. So it's like, from my perspective, I'm actually winning right now. And in fact it was. So it was really interesting stuff. So yeah, definitely check out stuff about like AlphaGo and AlphaZero and like all that stuff, because it's like it's really fascinating stuff, especially if you're into computers in general.
Yeah, I love all that stuff.
Yeah,
I'm just really glad you're watching Hikaru No Go, because that's a great series.
Yeah,
it was
great.
It already.
Yeah, finished it. Yeah, finished that. Finished. What's the other one? I think it's what's the name of it? It's the Japanese like archery anime.
Oh god, that one. Yeah. That's supposed to be really good. I've never seen that one though.
Is it? That doesn't sound right. That's not right.
They're all in the archery club together.
Yeah, I was going to say one? Tsukune, but that's meatballs. I was like,
just search archery anime.
Yeah, I'll just look it up. But it's like, because I was like, oh, Tsukune. I said, that's a word I know, and I'm like, yeah, Tsurune. Yeah, I was close. Meatballs, archery, But yeah, no, that one was really interesting. I mean, it's beautifully done. Like, it's just a really pretty anime in general. So, but yeah, so if you haven't watched that one's definitely worth checking out. And then
I just wanted to make a point about what you were talking about with the animation quality. It's like, it's also that like sports anime is like the way animation studios show off too. So you really went from like the highest possible peak to one of the lowest valleys.
Yeah, and it felt like it. And also like, it wasn't even in widescreen, and like it seemed like they had sharpened it to try and like make it less horrible looking. So it just kind of like looked slightly jagged.
That's too bad.
Yeah, it was exceedingly ugly, but what are you going to do? I'm a little bit less like horrified by old anime than you are, but I'm still a little bit horrified.
Yeah, I don't know what it is with me. Just like I tried to watch the original Gundam, and it was just like, man, this hurts my eyes.
I put it on the list. I put it on the list of anime because like Lauren's never watched it, and I want to kind of
really good.
I think it probably is the best Gundam. The more that I reflect on it,
a second, yeah.
You know, I mean, especially like considering how long it is and how good it stays throughout its length versus something like Gundam Wing, which is, I like Gundam Wing, but it's a little cringy. And by a little, I mean a lot. And by a lot, I mean it's super. But I mean, you know, it's nostalgic. So what are you going to do?
Do you want to come to my birthday party? I'm going to murder you. Yeah, it's a little cringy.
Funniest fucking line, man.
So I take it you haven't watched Squid Game or anything?
No, you were talking about Squid Game.
Yeah, what is just because it was popular. It's the big thing right now, and I watched it.
And what was your feeling on Squid Game?
I mean, it is a very good version of gambling animes that already exist. Just like it's a death game anime, and it's like I've seen those. I've watched I've watched Battle Royale. I've seen Kaji and Akagi. So I wasn't like enamored by the concept of a death game. That was I was just like, yep, I get it already. But it's, very well shot, it acted well. It's good.
Oh, it's not an anime.
No, it's not. It's a TV show.
And it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Interesting. Oh, okay. Squid Game.
Especially if you've never seen any death game stuff. If like that's a new genre to you, then like I would definitely check it out.
I mean, I've seen Battle Royale.
Yeah. But that's a little bit more. That's like the trope originator. There's not as much game happening in Battle Royale.
Yeah.
But that is like, yeah.
And of course, I mean, I've seen that concept, like, even though the whole anime isn't necessarily about it, but like, I mean, fucking that one part of the Hunter exam in Hunter x Hunter when they're on the island. I mean, it basically is that,
Yeah. So yeah, it's
No, I'm down with that. I mean, we need to actually use my Netflix subscription. So
good. Yeah. It's definitely not a waste of time to watch it.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. I thought it fell off a little bit at the end would be my only complaint. The start is really good. And then it kind of uses that momentum for the rest of the series.
Okay. Well, that's fair enough. I mean, I'm trying to think of if I felt the same way about It's Been a Long Time of whatever the fuck, the one I just mentioned, Battle Royale. But I guess I can't remember Battle Royale enough to even.
Yeah, and Battle Royale has the benefit of being a movie.
Yes, well that is that's I guess kind of part of what I'm wondering is like, can it actually hold on to that tension? Over what 9 episodes is what it is.
Yeah, now you're getting me tongue tied.
Yeah,
I'd say it gets about 2/3 of the way through before you're like, okay, I know how this is ending. I don't feel the need to watch the rest of it.
Interesting.
And then the new season of Taskmaster started, series 12. I don't know if you watched Taskmaster or not.
I don't. I mean, I watched it like a little bit, like with the parents, but like I haven't like in a long time, So I think I got a few seasons into it, and that was about it, But yeah, have not watched Taskmaster in ages.
I mean, yeah, it's Taskmaster. It's
funny.
Exactly
It's good.
It's funny. It's a nice thing to watch when you're eating or something. And I don't mean that as like a diss on it. It's just that is clearly what it's for.
Yeah, it's just a thing that's on type of.
It's an entertainment show.
Yes,
it's not there's nothing deep about it.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really watch many shows like that anymore. Like it's
the only one I watch like that.
Fair enough. Yeah, because it's like I'm pretty much like I eat and then we sit down and watch television. So it's like it's more of a full engagement type of thing than an on in the background.
Mm-hmm. That's all I've been doing, and I've been reading a bunch of books, but I'm not gonna go into detail about all of the books I've been reading.
Oh man, yeah, you're gonna stress me out. I have what was the name of the Wind.
Oh shit, yeah, you're reading that. Nice.
I'm not reading it. But like it's around. So
yeah, it's taunting you.
Yeah, like it's just like because like Dad dropped it off, and it's like he's like, hey, Do you want to read Name in the Wind? And I'm like, no, don't put this on me. Don't put this evil on me.
It's okay. I'm the one putting those on Dad, so
yes,
you can blame me. It's just rolling downhill.
Ah, Jesus, Murphy. Because Lauren's read it, so I'm the only one that hasn't read it.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Wow. We gotta get Lauren on the podcast.
I know. Well, yeah. I mean, you want to have a book podcast? You could just replace me because, like, we could have Lauren as a guest.
Let's get Mason and Lauren on this podcast and just talk about books. Yeah, for sure.
Yes. But the only other thing that I did do, is I did record, another song,
nice.
that I've been meaning to record for a while because I've had something that I wrote like fucking 7 or 8 years ago, that I still think is a good song. I was trying to do like a log type of thing. But obviously I never really had like the equipment to do recordings. And so I just never fucking got around to it. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna record it. So maybe I'll send that to you, to listen to at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
It does have lyrics. So, that's something you're just going to have to,
that's fine. Yeah.
Something you're just have to accept mentally that,
it's really easy for me to ignore lyrics because I don't listen to them. So no problem.
But yeah, I was definitely going for like a log thing. So, that was my whole thing. Yes.
Nice.
So shall we discuss what we were spending a considerable amount of time doing?
Yes.
Yes. Diablo.
The Return.
Yes. Yeah. So Diablo, I mean, like, and I guess just ARPGs in general is probably what we're gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so, fuck, man. So I guess first question: Are you still playing Diablo 2, or did you kind of fall off already?
Yeah, I fell off already.
Yeah.
Okay. It was bad timing because I started reading a book. And I was like, okay, I can do both of these at the same time. I can read a book and play Diablo 2. That was a lie I told myself. I can apparently not do those two things at the same time. I'd be like, I'm just going to read for a couple hours, and then I'm going to get on in Diablo 2 around 7 and play with people. And then 7 comes, and it's like, oh, I could read for another 30 minutes. And then it's 9 o'clock, and it's like, I might as well just go to bed.
Yeah. I reached the point. So I guess I should back up and so for everybody that's listening, so Diablo 2 Resurrected came out. That's why we're talking about it. We've been playing that together for a period of time, about 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And then we kind of fell off. I fell off the wagon because I just got fucking frustrated. I was just like, this is enough. Like,
oh really?
Okay. Yeah.
What happened? Just like the immunity stuff?
Yeah. Well, it also reached the point where I was like, first of all, we're too early. Like, I don't have the patience to like do all of the Diablo 2 is a young man's game. Like, I
agree completely.
I don't have the patience to run through all these runs like and not get anything from like morning till night every day.
If only we could stop time.
Yeah, like because I mean the last time that we played Diablo, right? Mm-hmm. Was right before I left for Minnesota to start like my full-time job, so I graduated college. I quit my part-time job at the coffee shop because I had a real job that I was going to be in and I had enough money to get me through for like a month. So I was like, cool. I mean, I had more than money to get through a month, but I had enough money that taking a month off to do fucking nothing was not going to be a problem. And literally all we fucking did was play Diablo 2 during that period of time.
Yeah, it was so good. I had so much time.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Because it was like, it was during summer, like, and I think maybe you were working, but like it was part-time, so it wasn't
like
a big
10
deal.
hours a week or something, essentially not working.
Yeah, so it wasn't a problem, and I literally had nothing, like, I just didn't fucking get out of my pajamas. I just, like, sat there with my laptop and just fucking played Diablo 2. And, we did very well playing in that way. I don't have that kind of time.
Yep.
I just don't.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. By day 3, my character had built was like 99% done. He was like, okay, now I have to farm Countess runs for 2 weeks to get enough for Nigma, so I can farm more. Why am I playing this again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I really had a lot of fun playing with everybody. Mm-hmm. And if I saw that there were like 6 people on Diablo 2, I would jump on in a second.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we all we all had that thought, and so no one got on.
Yeah.
We were all waiting for someone else to get on, and then that just sort of compounded to no one playing.
Yeah.
Which is like, I mean, I only thought we were going to play for a week, so I'm happy we got 2 weeks out of it.
And I mean, like, I'm willing to go back at some point.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
But I need the other thing that because I was saying, like, too early, right? So it's like people had not really established, like, you know, the normal shit that I'm used to, like constant bail runs, like with a bot that like can do it properly, and fucking the economy is not there.
Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm looking at fucking, you know, games being made of people trying to trade fucking cham runes for Mars Kaleidoscope, and I'm just like, that's too much. That's too much. Like,
yep. Yeah.
God. Also, by the way, like, for anybody that has not played Diablo 2, and we're just gonna jargon. Like, this is just gonna. Like,
gibberish.
Yeah, like, if you haven't played Diablo 2 and you have no intention of ever playing Diablo 2, you maybe skip this one, you know? Like, I'm sorry, I can't possibly explain.
Let's not drive away our audience. We're going to talk about other ARPGs too.
We will.
We're be lost for like half of the episode.
Yeah, it's going to get really jargony, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Two tikis for dekis. You know?
Tiki for deki, yeah.
Tiki for deki.
There's also something else. Yeah. But there's something that dawned on me as well, is, you know, when we played Diablo 2, we also played it with the map hack, and, like, as everyone else did.
Right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
I didn't.
No wonder Counter's runs were so much easier. Oh my god.
Yeah, because I just teleport straight to the place and just do them. So, like, you know, the Diablo 2 experience I'm having is the intended experience, not the experience that I'm used to.
Yep. Yeah. I didn't even think about that. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
It's too polished. We need more bots and hacks.
Yeah.
To make it better.
Going through the fucking Durance of Hate level 2, like, I didn't used to have to teleport through the whole thing. I used to just scan through the map, find where the fucking exit to level 3 is, teleport directly to it, straight line, right to it, and then just kill Mephisto. Like, you know, as God intended, Stephen.
Yes, the correct way.
Yes. So, like, I like Diablo, but my God, I just don't have the fucking time for it, man. And if we, like you said, if we had 6 people, like, we're doing runs, you know, and, like, we're doing things properly, it would be fun, but, like, we got to get everybody on at once at, like, an established time where, like, we know we're going to play. Because otherwise, it's like, I can't just sit around, you know, from, like, 5 o'clock at night till 8 o'clock at night waiting for people to get on. Like,
yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
There's shit I want to do in my life.
Yeah. Like reading books.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or watching anime.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not.
Or editing the podcast.
Well, apparently not editing the podcast.
Yeah. Oh, God. So long. We recorded for 3 hours. Anyway, okay. But, yes. So, I will say, though, they did an excellent job, right?
Yes, they did.
They successfully, and for those who hadn't played it, like, I mean, obviously, if you look it up, Diablo 2 is like a 20-year-old game, something like that.
Yeah.
It's old. And boy, does it look it, right? And so, like, you know, you could press a key on the keyboard to switch between the new graphics and the old graphics. And, like, when I booted up, you know, Diablo 2 Resurrected for the first time, I was like, oh, I mean, like, this looks nice, but, like, I mean, you know, this looks like a slightly updated version of the thing that I remember. And then I hit the G key on the keyboard to go back to the old graphics, and then I was like, okay.
You
Man.
can count the number of pixels that are on the screen.
Yeah, I didn't quite realize how old it really and truly is. So yes, they did an incredible job of really capturing the nostalgic feel of the graphics to the point where I really didn't notice how updated they were.
Yeah, an almost perfect remaster.
Yeah, no.
Or remake.
Yes.
What's the right term here? Remake. Yeah.
Remake, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I'd call it a remaster. I would call it a remake, because a remake kind of assumes that they might change some of the systems and stuff like that, whereas, like, a remaster is just I think did some spit and shine.
Yeah, I think remaster is spit and shine. what I always consider remake is if they like have to recode the game, right? Like I think this Demon Souls remake was that, right? Whereas like there's no part of the old Demon Souls in the Demon Souls remake. It is a remake.
I mean, like from a development perspective, yeah.
I'm saying technically, that's all.
Yeah,
not in like a nomenclature way.
I guess what I'm saying is like I consider like the new Final Fantasy VII to be a remake, right? Like
okay, because it's adding stuff.
They fundamentally changed things about the game that, you know, like, I mean, because I think they even changed the battle system, didn't they? Like, isn't it like an active battle system?
Yeah, it's totally different. Yeah.
It's not the same
real
game.
Time with pause now or whatever. Not real time with pause. Whatever.
Yeah, like you couldn't play it and say that, oh, I've now played Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, whereas I think that I would accept that if you played Diablo 2 Resurrected, you've played Diablo 2. You just played a spit-shine version of it.
I like that standard. I think that works.
Okay, cool. Yeah. And so, I mean, like, and like the fucking cinematics that they did, like, by the way, I forgot how much I loved, like, that opening cinematic. Like the fucking, like, it's like, tell me, Marius, tell me how it was not your fault.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's so fucking good. It's like, I'm the Wanderer. And from that point forward, we traveled into the East. Always into the East. And it's like, fucking god damn it. It's like, gives me chills. It's so good. It's like
the campaign is the best part of Diablo 2.
Yeah. And so, okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about this because this is my big bugbear about ARPGs and like all of this, right? Because we have played. I mean, we've played more than just the three, right? Like, I mean, we've also played like Titan Quest and whatever.
Quest, Torchlight.
I didn't really ever play Torchlight, but I think I played like 5 minutes of it, and I was like, eh.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah. It didn't do it for me. But, and Titan Quest, like, I mean, we played it for a while, but I barely remember it. Like, I know that it existed and that we played it for like, you know,
I like
a couple
the
days.
Setting of Titan's Quest, but I never got past like Act 3. Mm-hmm. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I got as far as you and I got as far because we played it together, and that was as far as we got. So,
oh, really? Okay, I don't even remember playing it together.
Yeah, you might have played it before me, and then
I did. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I played it a few times.
Yeah, I only played it the one time that you and I played it.
I mean, this like ancient Greco-Roman setting is like that's such a great setting for an ARPG. That's really cool.
Is. Oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot there to utilize, and it was definitely. I mean, it was fun, but it never felt like Diablo. You know?
No, God, yeah, no, because it's not it's the appeal of Diablo. I think we can both agree is the social online like community aspect.
Yeah,
not so much the game itself.
Yeah, I mean, I played Diablo to grind it out, not to like experience the game.
Yeah, exactly. No, any ARPG. So I mean, this is another thing. I don't know if we want to change topic already so quickly, but just like ARPGs are slot machines. And the more thought you have to put into pulling the lever, the harder it is to like play the ARPG for any length of time. Yes.
And the more time you have invested in it, the more you're willing to like pull hard on that lever, you know? Because it gets harder to pull every time, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you know, every time you got to pull the lever, it's like, oh, it's a little bit harder this time, but like, you know, as you play it more, you're willing to pull that lever just a little bit harder each time. But eventually you reach that point where it jumps just enough that you're unwilling to continue. And
it's like, man, I'm not pulling that lever one more fucking time.
Yeah, like, exactly. Eventually it just wears you out just one more time enough. And that's it, you know?
Yeah.
So that brings me to Path of Exile, right? So I think of the three ARPGs that I've played with any kind of regularity, you know, that being Diablo 3, Diablo 2, and Path of Exile. Yep. I find Path of Exile the one that I burn out on the end game quickest. I don't think I burn out on Path of Exile the quickest necessarily. In fact, I think that's Diablo 3. But I burn out on the end game of Path of Exile the quickest. And it's because Path of Exile makes you play the fucking game. What are you thinking? I don't want to play the game. Don't make me do that. I just want to jump right to the end game and play that. But like, they make you play the whole game every time.
So this is actually really interesting because before we played Diablo 3 and Diablo 2 together recently, I would have been 100% on board with what you're saying. I'm one of the people who was like, we need to have a campaign skip in Path of Exile. Like, what is this fucking bullshit? Like, I don't want to have to play the campaign for the 500th time. But like, especially with Diablo 3, I really felt like my experience was lessened not playing the campaign, actually. It's like, I would have loved to like take my time and like working through the campaign of Diablo 3 and like figuring out what my build does. And like, but because it has the ability to skip all that, I'm obviously going to take advantage of that fact. I mean, I'm not stupid, right? Like, obviously I'm not going to play the campaign if I have the option, but I think I missed out a little bit. It's like my opinion actually is a little different now. It's like, especially playing Diablo 2, I loved rushing people through the campaign. Like, I loved doing all of that stuff multiple times. It's like, I might be on the other side of that now. I think it's nice to have, at least doing it once a season, right? Is like, it's nice to have that sort of like gentle entry into actually pulling the lever, right? Where you get to like kind of half pull it for a while and like take your time a little bit. Path of Exile kind of discourages that though, which is annoying because it's like it's constantly rushing you to go to the end game. So it's, I don't know.
Yeah, and Path of Exile also does that thing where it just absolutely makes it like it makes it hard to interact with like your friends in any kind of a way, you know?
Yes.
Like with its like level, like I mean, like the level locking.
Such bullshit. Oh my god.
It's so bullshit, man. It's like you literally have to stay in lockstep with everybody else in order to actually experience the game together. Whereas like even with Diablo 2, like they strike a nice balance in that you can't just rush people straight to the end game, you know, but like there's still a point to playing with them. Whereas
you can't even do that in Path. It's the one thing where it's like Diablo 2 is heads and above better than Path in its community, without a doubt.
Yes. Like, I mean, I think that, you know, Path of Exile is trying to encourage you to play with randos, like, you know, if anyone at all. If anyone at all. Because it's like, oh, find randos at your same level and play with them.
So, I mean, I can say definitively that's not what they're trying. And I can say that because the patch notes just came out for the new league, and they have killed Ourobots. So now there is no reason to ever party ever in Path of Exile now.
Mm-hmm. And that's why it's stupid. I play ARPGs to play with friends. Like that's the whole point. That's why I play ARPGs. Like I play them to like me and a couple, because like I don't play them by myself. Like they're not fun by yourself because you lose the kind of fun competitive aspect of like trying to get your character as good as possible, you know? Like,
so I mean, I would say Path of Exile does still have those aspects, just because of like the third-party tracking software.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so for instance, like 2 leagues ago, I managed to be the number 1 Flicker Strike Slayer for like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And it was like, and then like I also like managed to get rich enough that like I affected the economy graphs a little bit. And it's like, so it's a much more impersonal competition in Path.
Yeah.
Like you're competing against like other people manipulating the game system. And so it's not really the same, it doesn't give you the same feeling as actually playing with people, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, that's definitely why I like Path, right? It's like, it has that competitive online element. Much the same way that I like Dark Souls, right? Where I don't really like the game. I just like being able to like fuck with people online. And that's something Path Exile lets you do through the economy.
Yeah. And I don't know, man. Like I find Path of Exile, like I'm so impressed that you can go through so many seasons on that game because like
it's not impressive. It's bad. It's like, and I've been captured. I want to be very clear here. Don't play Path of Exile. Don't do it. If you're downloading the game right now, don't do it. Don't stop. Right. You know what? I left a Steam review where my review is, hey, don't play this game. It's going to addict you to it. And it's like, you're not going to gain anything valuable out of doing so.
Yeah. Like if I was to ever go back to Path of Exile, I would resurrect my last character, like, and play them on the non-season because I was pretty close to the Shaper. I was like 2 maps away from the Shaper. And my character was good. So like, I don't want to go through the whole fucking game. I just want to pick up that character and actually get to the Shaper, like, and actually finish the end game because Like, I don't want to spend, like, I'm 33 years old now. I don't want to spend, like, a week getting to the end game. Like, I'm already...
You wish a week.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, if I'm playing consistently, maybe I can get to the end game in a week, you know? Like, fucking, like, I'm talking get to maps, right?
Yeah.
Just to maps. It's like, yeah, like a week, 2 weeks, depending on how I play. And it's like...
And maps, sorry, I'm just going to say, maps are like the start of the end game.
Yeah, they're like, and I know, and so that's the thing, right? And this is why I wanted you to at least experience Diablo 3, even though you had a bad experience with it. Because
that was my fault. I don't think it was, I think I would have enjoyed the game a lot more with a better build. And so I can't really like, and I remember liking Diablo 3 when I played it like back in the day still, right? Like when I played as a witch doctor, like I don't.
Yeah. Let me try to explain what I like about Diablo 3 is because the thing that I enjoy about it is that it feels like a designed game, which is actually, I think, part of the reason why you didn't like it.
That's
because
exactly correct. Yep.
Yeah, you hate feeling like you're playing the game as intended.
Oh,
you
God,
like breaking. Yeah, you like breaking the game, which I totally understand. The only reason
I play games is to break.
So the thing that works perfectly about Diablo 3 for me is, first of all, you know, they understand, hey, you got shit to do. So you actually don't have to play the campaign. There's a whole separate mode where you can just jump straight into like the quote unquote end game content. And it's like a shitty, like, you start out at like a shitty version of it because you're starting out at like the lower difficulties of that end game content. But it's the same thing. It's like you're running the quote unquote maps. You know, it's in Diablo 2, it's rifts. You know, you're running rifts at a lower difficulty to level up. And that's all you do. You just level up until you get to level 70 or whatever it is. And like you can do that solo. And I mean, it took me, you know, I wasn't doing it very efficiently. It probably took me like 5 hours. You know, if you were doing it really efficiently, you could probably do it in 3 or 2. So it's totally doable. But then once you get to the end game, there's a couple things that are really nice. First of all, every season, you can get an entire set basically given to you for quote unquote free if you just do the campaign stuff and you do some of like these required things, which I have done before. And it takes a little bit of time and there's probably more efficient ways to get these stuff, but like you're guaranteed to get all the pieces of a full set of armor and weapons or whatever, or like whatever your particular set is that they're giving you. If you just follow the steps, and it does cause you to go through the campaign. So if you are the kind of person that wants to do the campaign, then you can just do the highlights of the campaign, like all the big bosses, and fucking get a whole set of stuff and be ready to roll on your character. So that's great. That's a good integration of the system. Then fucking there's 2 kinds of rifts. There are the standard rifts, which drop items, and they drop some of the crafting materials that you need. And they also drop keys to get into the higher level rifts. So you have to play those. Like you can't just at a certain point ignore them because you need them to continue doing the true endgame content, the greater rifts. So you have to play those. There's a reason to play those. The greater rifts, stuff doesn't drop and it's timed and you only advance in them if you can complete it within the time. And there's a couple nice things in the fact that, like, you know, if you die, like, cause the whole point of these greater rifts is there's stuff that you slot into your items. There's gems you slot into your items. They give you ridiculously awesome bonuses the more you level them up. And the only way to level them up is through playing the greater rifts. So you have to keep doing those. And so you play through those, and as your gems level up higher, you have to do higher and higher and higher level of rifts, because eventually, like, you know, you want to upgrade a gem from, you know, 80 to 90, you can't do a greater rift at level 40 because you will have 0 chance of doing it. So there's a reason to keep climbing the ladder and get greater and greater things. Okay, cool. So, but there's only 3 slots really for gems in your build, and there's like 15 or 20 gems that you can get. So is there a point to leveling up any of those? Well, there is, because if you level up any of those gems beyond a certain point, you can actually basically put them into your, like your weapons and armor, and it gives you like plus to one of your skills, like plus to strength or plus to vitality or whatever the fuck. So it's like after you've leveled up your gems as high as you can reasonably go at your current level, you can start leveling up the other gems to increase your abilities to get you further so that you can do even higher rifts and upgrade your gems to that. And then
you can do even higher rifts.
So you can do even higher rifts, right? And then fucking the bounties, like, is a good reason, to actually interact with the community, because there's a shit ton of them, and it's better if everybody is doing them at once.
What are bounties?
Bounties are the ones where you have to go through the different parts of the game, either like kill a certain amount of things in this area.
Oh, that's the set stuff you're talking about, right?
That's a different thing.
Oh, I didn't realize those were different systems.
Yeah. So yeah, this because there's Hadric's Gift, which is you have to actually play through the campaign and do very specific things.
Okay.
And then there is bounties where you can always do bounties, right? Like there's always bounties games going on, and they give you certain items that you can only get through bounties, some of which are extremely useful. And you also can get crafting materials, which the only two ways to get crafting materials are bounties and the once weekly challenge rifts, which are basically like you get to play a different character. It's somebody else's character that they've already done, and you basically play their quote unquote best time through a rift. And, the whole point is, can you beat that best time? And usually it's, they always pick one that's like, they didn't complete particularly efficiently. So there's always room to win. Like, it's never that much of a problem. Sometimes it's by the skin of your teeth, as we saw on the one that we did.
Oh, yeah.
But like, it's winnable. Like, it's not like, oh fuck, this is like a super best time. This is just like it's close enough that it's going to be,
it's reasonable.
That's reasonable. And what those allow you to do is to try a different build, It's like, they just like, they give you an opportunity. It's like, maybe you don't want to level. I mean, even though it takes like 2 minutes, like it took, I think, Steve, it took us 30 minutes to level up your character?
Yeah, but I mean,
because I was already maxed out.
Levels are meaningless in Diablo 2.
Yeah, but I mean, like, to get you to endgame content, basically.
Sure.
It's like, it took no time. And then that's the other thing too, is like, almost nothing is, in fact, I think nothing really is permanent in Diablo 3. Like, you can change your build at any time. You can change your skills at any time. And, in order to like facilitate that even more, there's this thing called the Armory, which basically like, you can save a version of your build. So if I have 3 or 4 different versions of my build, depending on the content that I'm using, it'll switch out my items. It'll switch out my skills. It's like, they've thought about all this shit, They've put the whole thing together in a way that's streamlined, and it allows me to get to the fun quicker. And what that amounts to is I play Diablo 3 less than I play the other games, but I have more fun while I'm doing it. I can play Diablo 3 for a week, get a character that's like on the leaderboard, grind for a bit, hit a wall, get bored, and stop. And I feel okay about it. Whereas in fucking like, and the only complaint that I have, so I know I've talked for a long time, but the last little bit, it's the only complaint that I have is, as you mentioned, there is no end game. Like, It's like you get to the greater rifts and you just do higher rifts, and that's it. That's the whole game. If there was some end goal to Diablo 3, even if like they still had the greater rifts, but if there was like some end boss that you could do that wasn't trivial, because they do have Ubers in Diablo 3, but by the time you're doing anything of any remotely reasonable content, Ubers are like, they're trivial. Like, you do Ubers to get the pieces for Hellfire amulets, and beating them is a joke. Like, I can kill each one of them instantly. Like, that's like, it's not a challenge. It's not like, oh, I beat the Ubers. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, if you have a build that's even remotely viable, you could beat the Ubers, Whereas in Diablo 2, I mean, I think we got to the Ubers once. We got to Uber Tristram once. Yeah, we couldn't beat it. Like, and we had really good characters.
Literally couldn't beat it. Like, we weren't dying or anything. Like, we couldn't do enough damage fast enough was our problem. If I remember correctly.
Yes. It was like, cause it was like, I think it was like Uber Mephisto or something. It's like, resistant to physical or something. And so it's like,
we couldn't do it.
Yeah. So like, that's, for me, I understand why you didn't enjoy your trek through Diablo 3, because Diablo 3 basically trivializes everything. But for me, somebody who doesn't want, like, who recognizes that it's a slot machine and just wants to, like, get my fix of an ARPG, I can jump in and out of Diablo 3, like, in a week feel like I've done something and then stop. And then I don't feel bad because it's like the only thing that was staring me in the face was more riffs. If I don't want to go any higher, I don't have to feel like I quit. I just have to feel like I stopped. Whereas in Path of Exile, I feel like I quit. I'm like, oh, I'm only 2 maps away from the Shaper. I could just get a little bit stronger, but a little bit stronger is another month of work.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That I don't want to put in.
Yeah. And that Path of Exile has the exact opposite problem. It's like, it has too much endgame that it's overwhelming and frustrating because you like get to a point where you can see how long your path is to your next upgrade. And you're just like, man, I don't give a shit. I don't care about getting that extra 3% damage bonus that's going to take me a month. I'm just going to stop.
And you had mentioned that you're kind of on the other side of things now, that you kind of feel as though, you know, you don't think that there should be a campaign skip. But the only reason why I say I would like a campaign skip is...
I want to be very clear before we go any farther. I don't think you should be able to campaign skip your first character in a league. I think you should definitely be able to skip all your other characters.
Okay, because and that's the thing is I don't even think I really want to play a league ever again because of that particular thing.
Yeah, I don't think anyone I know ever wants to play Path of Exile ever again. Other than me. And even I'm like, oh, am I going to play like some league? Like, I don't know, probably not.
You will.
Yeah, I might. I probably will pop in, but I don't know. We'll see.
But
they got me. I don't know. They really got me. I don't know how they did it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, every so often you just find a game. It's like fucking Tim in Warframe. It's like he's still playing it, man. It's like him and like 5 other people is still just like more than actually.
Good for him.
Yeah, I mean, Warframe is. I mean, you know, a lot of people love Warframe. I will occasionally drop into Warframe, but like, I don't ever feel like I'm going to get anywhere. And unlike Path of Exile, it's not a league type game. It's persistent. So like, at least when I jump back in, I'm like, okay, I'm going to pick up where I left off, which is shitty, but like at least I have something already established and I can continue working towards getting better versus Path of Exile. It's like I'm already burned out by the time I finish the campaign. And then I have to like force myself through like maps. I just want to get to maps. It's like, let me just get to maps and like play my build and then that's it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, that's when I play, that is, I am rushing to get through the campaign as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm. So I think that kind of grounds everybody. This is how we feel about ARPGs between Steven and I. I want to talk a little bit more about Diablo Resurrected now, though, like specifically, because I guess, well, how did you find going back to Diablo 2? Like having now played more modern ARPGs, like, did you have as much enjoyment, or was there new things that have frustrated you because of quality of life improvements that other ARPGs have kind of instituted?
Nothing frustrated me. I'll say that right now. I didn't run into anything where I was like, oh god damn it, like I wish they'd just do this like Path of Exile. Like Diablo 2 Resurrected was very different. I play Flicker Strike in Path of Exile, which if you don't know what that is, it is the one move in the game that auto targets, auto moves, and auto hits. So I don't actually have to play Path of Exile, and so I can just like be showered in currency by holding down a button. It's like playing a cookie clicker, essentially, for me. So I get a lot of like emotional satisfaction from playing Path of Exile. And so I did not get anywhere close to the level of enjoyment playing Diablo 2 as I did Path. But I really liked playing a slower paced ARPG. I liked the fact that I had to like think about positioning myself, that like I had to manage my potions. It's not something I'd want to do long term, right? Like having to do all of that mental effort of like managing your equipment and potions and your positioning and your summons, like it makes it more engaging. Like I was actually playing Diablo 2. But I don't enjoy playing ARPGs that much. So that didn't make it better for me. It's just, I think overall Diablo 2 is probably a better video game than Path of Exile in that sense, because you actually have to play it. Unlike Path. What about you?
Yeah. Also, it's interesting you say cookie clicker, because I was going to make that argument at a certain point that like all of these games are just cookie clicker.
Yeah, they literally are just that.
With just more steps.
Yeah, that's all it is. I mean, you can essentially apply that to almost any video game, but with ARPGs, it's like pretty accurate.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing that I occurred to me with Diablo, because like Diablo 2, I forgot how hard it is, right? Like I forgot how difficult.
So hard.
I forgot how difficult. Like hell is literally, it's difficult, you know. Like and like getting to the point where you can go through hell like is an actual like step in the game versus. Like, in Diablo 3, I mean, it's fucking trivial, you know? Even in Path of Exile, it's ultimately trivial getting to that point. The
Diablo
only
2
real...
is a lot less smooth with its difficulty curve.
Yeah, I mean, it like, hell is like, fuck you, you know? Like, it's a fuck you difficulty.
Oh, you're here now? Well, stop.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like, my character got to hell, and I literally, like, because I had a cold magic-based character, and like the first enemy I encountered was immune to cold. It's like, oh, okay, I can't actually be here yet. This is a problem for me. But like what I found with Diablo 2 is that it is so miserly, man. Like,
oh my god, yes.
It's like, because even Path of Exile, like, you at least get items when you kill things, you know?
I was gonna say, that was my one big thing that I think Path of Exile does way better, is like, everything is valuable to a certain extent. Whereas with Diablo 2, it's like, if you're dropping a tall rune, like, you throw that away.
Yeah, we're at the point where it's like, unless you know you're going to need it for a recipe down the road and you don't already have 30 of them.
Exactly,
like,
you do have 30 of them, so you're throwing it away.
Yeah. And like, it's just like, I don't think it hits the minimum threshold for me right now. You know, like I've become too used to getting useless legendaries and useless uniques. You know, like,
yeah, it's not exciting.
Yeah, like because it's like what Diablo 3 does and what Path of Exile, I think, if I recall correctly, does. It's basically, it's like, you know, shit will drop and it's like, oh, it's a, you know, it's a unique item. Oh, it sucks. Okay, whatever. You know, and you toss it away. But like almost all the time, you're seeing some amount of that.
But when you
know?
sell that unique item, you get some alchemy shards to make alchemy orbs. And those alchemy orbs are valuable. So it's never a waste.
Yeah, and same thing with Diablo 3. You know,
Yes. Yeah, even leveling up a jewel. I mean, I remember you telling me this. Even leveling up a jewel that you're not going to use, you can still use that jewel to do something else that's valuable.
Yes,
which
exactly.
is very important. You need to always be rewarding players a little bit for playing your fucking slot machine.
Yeah, that's the drip feed that you need. And so what is it? It's you could also just salvage and you get crafting materials, which you need. So it's like you can always use what you get. Whereas like in Diablo 2, like what happens is you do like 5 runs and you just get fucking rares and magic items, which by and large are fucking useless.
Yes.
And then you get like a green item, like a set item, or you get like a gold item, a unique item. And you're like, oh shit. And then it's also fucking useless. And all you could do is sell it for a shitty amount of gold. And it's like, this is not enough. This is not pulling me in enough to keep me like on the hook, you know? Like it was at a certain point, like when I was, you know, when I was just a young gun at 21 and like I was able to actually like, you know, hang on for 150 runs, you know, but like fucking, I was looking at like some statistics, right? It's like, you know, like one of the things I could do is lower Karast runs where you go through and you open all the chests. And people are like, oh yeah, you know, you can get some good high runes, like, you know, in about 10,000 runs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah.
Reading the chart where it's like, yeah, you can expect 1 high rune every 350 Countess runs. And it's like, okay, I don't have time to do 10 Countess runs.
Yeah. It's just like, I don't have that, like, it's too soul crushing, you know? Like, I'm not there.
I will say that I think that is a problem with all our ARPGs. That is a flaw in the genre. And it just so happens that because Diablo 2 is so old, they like, you know, the level of engagement that was okay back then is no longer okay.
Yeah, I mean, we've moved on to moved on to like a higher quality of life in that regard.
And Diablo 2 doesn't even like, it barely has an economy because it has so few valuable items. That, like, pretty much, like, I can look at a price guide from 5 years ago and kind of know what everything is worth still. Whereas if I tried to do that in Path of Exile, I'd get scammed out of my fucking ass.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, you think this is worth this much? Oh, you sweet summer child. I'll just take all of that. Thank you very much.
Although it's interesting that you mentioned that, like, you know, there's always a point to everything in Path of Exile. I did find, and maybe I'm just misremembering.
I would caveat that myself, actually, which is that's not true.
Yeah, because I did find a lot of times there was good reason to not engage with a lot of content in Path of Exile in a way that I don't find is true in Diablo 3. You know, like, that is the one thing I like about Diablo 3 is there's always a good reason to do all of the content, except for the campaign. But even the campaign, there is a reason to do it at least once, you know?
There's definitely a reason not to pick up certain items, but I don't know about content. What do you mean by, like, not doing content?
You know, there's a reason to do the campaign at least once to get the set items. If you want to. You don't have to, but there is a reason.
I'm talking about for Path. Sorry.
Oh, for Path. I'm thinking, like,
because I kind of think that's one of the strengths of Path is like you can just be like, I don't really want to do Delve, so I'm just gonna do Blight instead. I'm gonna play a tower defense game now. Whereas Diablo 2, it's like, I don't want to run Greater Rifts or Rifts. What can I do? I guess bounties is the answer to that question.
Yeah, you do bounties.
In Path of Exile, it's like there's like 7 things that I could do.
Yeah.
It's like I could do Heist instead of Blight, or I could do. You know, I mean, you always have to run maps, though. Is the thing.
Okay, maybe let me say it differently because I think you're right. I think I'm misremembering what my argument was in my head. It's not that there isn't a reason to do it. It's just that, like, because those things aren't really, like, integrated into each other. Like, there's no natural flow to the game. It's like, well, what should I do? I guess I'll do Delve.
Yes.
You know, what should I do? I guess I'll do this.
Yeah.
You know,
and I would even say that if you have to focus in one to be effective, like you have to choose to do Delve, and then that is what you're doing.
Yeah.
That league, and so like that is a weakness without a doubt.
Yeah, because that is one of the things that I like about Diablo 3 is it's what keeps me from getting bored is like, or it keeps me from getting bored as fast as I normally do. Is there's a natural flow to the game. It's like, I do Greater Rifts for a while. Oh, I'm out of Greater Rift keys. Okay, I need to do, you know, and I need Death's Breath. So I need to go and do, I need to do regular Rifts for a while. And so I do regular Rifts for a while. Then by the time I get sick of those, it's like, oh, you know what? I've been crafting a lot of stuff. I need to do bounties. And so then I do bounties. And it's like, oh, you know what? I'm out of gold, but I picked up these puzzle rings. So let me do the puzzle. Let me do like the vault because I need some gold to upgrade my items. And like gold has meaning in that game. The blood shards, I think, are a great mechanic because they make gambling feel worthwhile because it's like there's no reason to not gamble. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, that is nice, yeah.
You know, whereas in Diablo 2, like, I mean, other than the keep your gold glitch that we found,
that was good.
You know, it was good, but it's like it kind of fucks up the mechanic a little bit because then it's like, okay, then I always have a reason to gamble.
Always gambling.
Yeah, because it's like I'm not right, but like in Diablo 2, like I feel like the mechanics almost try to work against you, and you're always having to make trade-offs, which I understand sometimes makes a really good game, right? Like, I mean, fuck, I love Dark Souls, and the mechanic in Dark Souls of do I use these things to level or do I use these things to buy things that I need, you know, is a good mechanic. Yeah. Like it's effective. It's like the souls are your currency, and they're also your leveling up things. But whereas Dark Souls is predictable, and the only thing standing in the way of me beating the game is me. The thing that's standing in my way in Diablo 2 and Path of Exile and Diablo 3 is fucking RNGesus, and I hate that.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's like there's no, unless I can get lucky and get the shit that I need, I can't play the game. And I guess that's my biggest complaint, like looking back and playing Diablo 2. You know, now that I've had more experiences with this genre, like I really wish that there was like a branch of Diablo 2 where they implemented the Diablo 3 loot system. Because I love the Diablo 3 loot system. I think that it is the ideal loot system. I don't know how you felt about it when we played.
I mean, it's very similar to Path's loot system. Like, you know,
it's similar.
So like last League, right? Like you're talking about blood shards. Last League, they introduced, Expedition is the mechanic. And you, occasionally in maps, you'll run across these people who, like, want you to fight guys to open chests. And when you open chests, they drop these, like, unique fragments that you use to gamble. And it's like, that's blood shards. They added blood shards to the game. That's Path of Exile's strength, is because it's so disjointed. You can kind of just add whatever system you want and be like, okay, this is part of Path of Exile now.
Yeah.
do it or don't do it. It doesn't. It's like what you're talking about with like getting keys and like that's how path works, right? It's like you do maps to get like sulfite to run delve.
Yeah.
You do maps to like find oil so you can start doing blight. And it's like you always go back to maps to get the stuff you need to do the other end games.
Yes.
But it's just everything is way more complicated and way more obscure and obtuse and like on purposely obtuse. And, like, they're constantly changing it, so if you figure out a good strategy, they're immediately like, okay, that strategy's nerfed, or there's a new strategy you have to figure out. And it's like, I'm just really glad that my Flicker Strike build has survived for so many leagues, because if they get rid of it, I'm done. Like, that's it. I don't want to play Path Exile anymore.
That's all you're hanging on to.
That's it. I mean, seriously. Like, if they get rid of Flicker Strike, I'm gone. Like, no question.
See, the thing that I like about, and again, this just goes back to like good integration, but like in Diablo 3's loot system, it's like, everybody gets their own loot, right? Like, cause the thing that frustrates me about Diablo 2 is you share loot.
Oh, God,
and
dude.
And it's frustrating, and it frustrates the people you're playing with too, because it's like, like something good drops and somebody's gonna get it, and at least one other person is gonna want that thing, and they're gonna be annoyed that they didn't get it, Yeah,
dude, picking up that low rune made me feel so bad.
I was like, I shouldn't let this get to me, but I'm like, I'm so annoyed because I really need a fucking rune.
And I was just like, man, I feel so bad now. It's just like, man, oh God, like, now I have this low rune. I better fucking use it for something really good, or people are going to be pissed at me. Like, I wasted this shit. And it's like,
that fucking cham. That fucking cham. I saw a cham drop, and I couldn't get it in time. It's like, fucking, Whereas, like, Diablo, because Diablo 3 eliminated trade, they had to update their loot system to account for that. And I think that they did it in a really smart way. Is, a lot more loot drops, and the loot that does drop is almost always, like with some exceptions, almost always relevant to your character, which is great. So it's like, if you're a barbarian, you're going to get more barbarian items. And if you're a barbarian, you're really only going to get strength items. You may every so often get a dexterity item or something like that. But like by and large, you're going to get strength items. And then the systems in the game allow you to take those items and sometimes get the things that you want. Like, there's the upgrade rare system where it's like you can use crafting materials to take a rare item and turn it into a unique item of the same type. So if you're really having trouble finding that fucking unique sword, there's options for you, And then there's the enchant system of like, if you get an almost perfect roll of something, but one thing is off, instead of having to fucking grind for another 100 hours to get that thing, you can just enchant and get that thing, You can only change one, but you can change one thing. So if you get a near perfect item, you have an opportunity to turn it into a perfect item. And like, that kind of like integration is just like, it's like, for me, it works perfectly. I always feel like I'm accomplishing something,
Yeah.
I don't get that soul-crushing feeling in Diablo of like, oh, I wasn't in time to pick up the item. Yeah. And then even when I wasn't in time to pick up the item, it's a shit item. It doesn't have the right skill. It's like, oh, I got the thing, but it's got fucking vitality on it instead of strength, so it's useless. It's like, ugh! It's frustrating, man. It's a frustrating game. And I hate the immune system.
Oh yeah, the immune system is terrible. Yeah, it's an old game.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of lessons that people have learned since that. Diablo 3, Path, Grim Dawn. There's some other big one that's coming up, but I can't remember what it's called now. I'm blanking. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, in Path Exile, they keep talking about they're going to do a loot 2.0 system where they're going to like, make it more Diablo-like, where things drop that are actually relevant to you, and like, there's less just trash constantly. I mean, there's so much trash in Path. It's unbelievable.
Path is hilarious with that. Like, to the point, it's like, I love that, like, loot filters exist. It's like, no, so much shit is going to drop that, like, you literally need to filter it out of your view because there's too much shit in front of you.
It was so nice playing Diablo 2, and enemies would drop, like, 3 items, and it's like, oh yeah, my screen isn't suddenly covered in, like, text boxes.
Yeah. It's all still useless, but...
Yeah, but it feels less bad.
Yeah. And then in Diablo 3, it's like you pop a boss, and it's like, uniques and sets everywhere. Again, most of it is useless, but like, I don't know. It feels nicer to me, maybe because I'm a child, but like, I like it.
So the thing I like about Path is ultimately the fact that it's like, you are just getting gold the whole time. It's like everyone trades gold. There's only gold. Everything is done in gold. It just so happens that in Path of Exile, gold is like 20 different like little orbs instead of coins.
Oh, okay. So when you say gold, what you're talking about is like the currency.
But everything is
items.
currency. Like I never need to farm in Path of Exile for an item, right? I just need to farm, and then I'll get enough currency to buy the item from the trade system.
Yes.
It's like I don't care what drops ever. It's like it doesn't matter. It's just like I just pick up the things that I know are most valuable that my loot filter tells me, and it's like I don't have to be like, oh man, this has. I mean, I do that because I play a lot and I want to manipulate the economy, but like you don't need to like look at your items.
Yeah.
Right? You can just like sell them for orbs and then go on the trade thing and input exactly what you want and then buy it from somebody.
Yeah.
And I like that. I like always just being, you're never not moving toward being better in Path. Whereas like even in Diablo 3 to a certain extent, it's like when I dropped a couple items that were good for my build, but like then I had to like roll them in the crafting system and then I didn't get them and it was like, oh, now that item is worthless. And it's a waste. And I can't do anything with it. And it's like, in Path, I could have sold it for 2 alteration shards, which is nothing, but it's 2 alteration shards. And, 20 of those make an alteration orb, and that's worth 1.3 chaos. It wasn't a complete waste of time. It was just mostly a waste of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we just needed to find you a better build. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think I would have liked Diablo 3 a lot more if I'd played something a little more... My problem was I picked a build that was all or nothing, and I like progression. And that was my fault. I should have been more careful and found a, starter build.
Well, yeah, and you also don't understand how to, do an interim build.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, if I had not learned Path of Exile, then I would be totally willing to learn Diablo 3. But I learned Path of Exile instead, so that's
I will at least say that learning Diablo 3 is trivial compared to learning Path of Exile.
Yes. I feel like I've gotten a pretty good handle on Diablo 3 just from, the week that I played it, whereas, Path of Exile still, there's large parts of the game that they're totally opaque to me.
Yeah. So... You said you'd go back to Diablo 2 at some point.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, if I'm going to open the Blizzard app right now. Is Chaz or Mason or Corey playing? Nope. I'm not going to get on. But if Mason had been on, I probably would have jumped on.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, Mason's playing. Yeah, I'll come in and I'll talk to Mason and play some Diablo 2. I just don't want to what you were saying. I don't want to sit there from 5 to 8, being bored doing Countess runs.
Yeah. It was literally starting to depress me. I was just I don't want to do this.
It was stressing me out because I was like, oh man, I really need to stop reading and get on Diablo 2 to not, because I don't want to be the person who's I don't want to be the reason everyone stopped, right? And it's just but then at a certain point I had to be honest with myself and be like, I'm enjoying reading way more than I'm going to enjoy Diablo 2. So
yeah, that was where I was at. I was like, you know what? I want to watch the new season of My Hero Academia.
Yeah, so do it.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm just going to it's time. Yeah. I'm doing it.
We all have lives, I think the only person still who's playing earnestly is Corey, and I think he's even stopped. So
yeah, I mean, I see him in the Discord every so often, so I'm assuming maybe he's playing.
He talks to me pretty much. He'll message me in the mornings and talk to me about what he did, and I'll be like, oh, that's cool, dude. Yeah, awesome, and
that was the other thing. It was if you guys ever get rich,
yes.
Then let me know. I'll get back on because if you could spread a little cheese on me.
I want to wait until there's a bunch of free games that I can just go and join and get all the items from.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's that's the other thing that because we
did.
Yeah, we took advantage of a lot of charity in Diablo 2 that doesn't exist in some.
We would have
games.
To be the charities.
Yeah, we got in. We got in too early, and I'm not there for early. Although we got really far. I mean, my sorceress wasn't, other than the fucking annoying ass cold immunes. I was popping shit.
I mean, my character was just done, right? On day 3, I could farm hell, Bale, right?
Yeah. You just all you need is somebody who can kill Bale for you because
it takes me 10 minutes to do it otherwise.
Yes. And that's the thing is I do think that the immune system isn't horrible in the sense of it does encourage you to play with people.
Let me run this by you because the expedition mechanic I was talking about introduced immunities to Path of Exile for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way the system works is there's all these chests spread out across a part of a map, and you lay down explosives to blow up the chests to get what's in them, but each chest has a set of modifiers that will apply to the enemies that come out of those explosions as well. And so, like, you could open this chest that's really valuable, but it's going to apply fire immunity to all the enemies. So now there's a choice whether or not, okay, well, my build does fire damage, so I guess I'm not opening that chest.
Yeah.
Which, I still think immunities are a bad system, if I'm honest. I don't like them at all, but at the very least, they made it optional to, like, you could be like, oh, I'm not opening that chest, because then I won't do any damage to anybody.
See, I would be bothered less by immunities if I could infinitely respec like it is in Diablo 3. Because, like, if I had a version, like, if I had a solo version of my build that was, like, dual element, then it's like, okay, cool, you know? And if I run into a cold fire immune, then that's on me, right? Like, whatever.
Yeah.
So I just won't kill that enemy. But, like, those are pretty rare compared to just straight cold immune, just straight fire immune, etc. So
yeah,
it's
and
like...
cold fire in particular is also even rare, because it's usually lightning something.
Yeah, it's usually lightning something. So it's like, you know, if I had the ability to just respec on the fly, so it's like I have a version of my build that's optimized for killing things, you know, with one element, and I have somebody else deal with the immunities, and then I have a version of my build where I can actually play solo and I can kill all things, like, but slower, like, that would be more fun. But, like, the thing is like, I have to make one or the other, or I have to make a whole nother fucking character that is just specifically for solo play, and then one whole other and it's like, that's what, you know.
It sounds like, to me, what we're both saying is that the gameplay of Diablo is pretty good. Diablo 2 specifically. But
yes,
the systems that are surrounding that gameplay are so woefully out of date that it hurts the enjoyment.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, yeah.
It's meant for a younger audience. And when I say a younger audience, it's not like, oh, it's meant for kids. It's like, no, it's meant for people that have time.
Yeah.
It's meant for people that are on summer vacation, you know, and can pour
12
800
hours.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, I can't pour 800 hours into Diablo 2. And it's like, I just need, like, can you just give me, like, a casual mode? Give me a casual mode, you know?
Yeah.
Where
I'll say this as well, because Diablo 2 is so much more active and, like, much more of a game, like, I don't have to pay attention. I can literally have it on my second monitor. That's how little attention I need to pay.
Yeah.
But I can't do that with Diablo 2.
Yeah. You have to be fully engaged or you're going to die.
I'll die immediately. It's just like, you know, the thing about Path of Exile is the mental effort is so low in that game that the physical effort of clicking a mouse actually becomes the limiting factor, right? It's like, but because Diablo 2 is so mentally taxing, you're never even going to get close to that. You're going to get burned out way before your hand starts to die.
Yeah. Yeah. Same problem with Diablo 3 is like, you know, like, cause it's got all those like cooldown mechanics and shit. So it's like constantly, you know, fucking around on the keyboard and trying to keep your cooldowns up. And
I will
like,
say that is something I disliked a lot about Diablo 3 is the MMO-ness of the skill cooldown rotation.
The thing is though, it's like, I agree with what you're saying, but like those cooldowns still exist in Diablo 2, but they're obfuscated. Like, you can't cast Blizzard as fast as your cast rate. Like, Blizzard has a cooldown, but it's a hidden cooldown. Whereas in Diablo 3, like, if the same character existed in Diablo 3, there are like items that reduce cooldown. So like there would be an ability to reduce the cooldown of Blizzard. Whereas as best as I can tell, there either isn't or it's somehow tied to like break points on your faster cast rate.
It's just faster. Yeah. It's just at FCR. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, you know, it's an obfuscated layer versus something like Diablo 3, which like brings everything to the forefront. It's just like, yep, there's cooldowns. This is how to reduce them. Use this skill. You know, it's like this particular item, you know, like reduces cooldowns. Get more of those and you will be able to cast it faster. Whereas like Diablo 3, it's like fucking Diablo 2, it's like spreadsheets and breakpoints and I ain't got time for that, man. I like Diablo 2, but I just ain't got time for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you find, I guess, I think maybe this is the wrapping up question is, do you like Diablo 2 more than Path of Exile, having gone back to it?
Do I like it? Oh my God, that's such a, like, do I like, what does that even mean? Do I like it?
Would you, like, if you could only play one?
Path of Exile.
Okay. There you go.
No question.
Yeah. I think I feel the same. Like if I
one
had
one of the games is still in active development, so it's not even like a hard question.
Oh, okay. Let me say this then. Like, ignore that part. Like, assume that Path of Exile is only the Path of Exile of today is the only Path of Exile it's ever going to be ever again.
I mean, that's still
Path of Exile.
The question is, would I prefer to watch Diablo 2 get developed more or Path of Exile? And the answer to that is Diablo 2.
Oh, okay.
I would love to see more Diablo 2 content and them updating Diablo 2 more and adding more suffixes and affixes and doing all that stuff. But they're not going to do that, so Path of Exile.
Would you pitchfork like crazy if they did actually change some of the systems in Diablo 2?
No, oh my god, please do it.
Because I know some people would, and like, you know, that's...
Of course they would, because it's the internet and people are insane.
I do really wish that like if they do decide to like do that, like if we could have like a classic version and then like an upgraded version, I would play the upgraded version, man.
But I'm thinking now actually a little bit, and Median XL exists, and I don't play it. So maybe I'm lying. Maybe I still would be Path of Exile.
What's Median XL?
It's a mod for Diablo 2 that's just like, it's a modern update of Diablo 2, right? It adds a lot of features that we've been talking about, like, you know, respecs and like more skills and better cooldown, like all of that. It's just Diablo 2 combined with Path of Exile, essentially. And it's like, I don't play it, so clearly I prefer Path of Exile.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean,
yeah,
I can't deny the reality of the situation.
Yeah, I honestly, like, it's funny because like I think I'm basically done with Diablo 3 unless you like want to one.
No, I'm good.
Okay,
I don't even know if I want to play the next Path of Exile League. So
yeah,
I definitely don't want to do another ARPG.
I would like to get further in my character in Diablo 2, but like I don't think I'll ever play another character again. I don't think I'm going to go through Diablo 2 from start to finish. Yeah. Like if I can get this character better, that's it. Like that's all I'm doing. But you know, I think that I've burned out. I'm ready for Diablo 4. That's what I'm ready for.
It's coming.
It is coming, allegedly. It does look interesting. I hope that it takes all of the lessons that they've learned to heart. That's what I hope.
I haven't even seen anything off of it yet. I'm actually just going to watch this gameplay trailer real quick because I'm curious.
Do it. Which gameplay trailer? I'll watch the same one.
November 1st, 2019, Diablo 4 official gameplay trailer. It looks very Diablo 2-esque, which is great. And it has horses. That's cool.
Yeah.
That looks pretty cool. I will say this. I don't need flashy graphics in my ARPGs.
Do you need them to be slightly more flashy than the Diablo 2 original graphics?
Well, I just don't need like, it's like I'm looking at this and like there's a lot of like attack animations that are happening that look really nice. And it's like, those are just like delaying gameplay. I'm such a path person at this point. It's hard to like look at gameplay and like not try to make it more efficient in my mind. It's like, man, if he wasn't doing that animation, he could be doing like a 1.5 more damage with his ability.
It's funny though, because I find Path of Exile so like plotting and tedious.
Oh, it's extremely tedious. That's why I play Flicker Strike.
Yeah, I know. It's like, and like same thing with, you know, Diablo 2, because it's like, I'm, you know, playing Diablo 3. It's like, I mean, you saw, I fucking played, you know, Lawnmower Barbarian, where it's like, hold down Whirlwind, and that's the gameplay.
Yeah, it's the best.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, Diablo 2 does not let you hold down any buttons.
No, it does not. Unfortunately.
We're just old and jaded now.
Yeah, that is unfortunately very true. But yeah, no, I do. I think that Diablo 4 looks like it's the right sweet spot between Diablo 3 and Diablo 2.
And so wait, did you ever say what yours was? Would you prefer Diablo 3 or Diablo 2? Because I'm assuming it's not Path.
No, it's not Path. I'll never play a season in Path again. And
good.
I'm over it. But
the right decision.
Yeah. No, I mean, if I had to play one, I would probably just play. Well,
it's hard, isn't it?
It is, because like, you know, if I had to start a character over each time I decided to play, it would be Diablo 3 every time, right?
Yeah.
If it's just like, which character do I, if I had to continue either my current barbarian or my current sorceress, I would continue my current sorceress. I don't really have anywhere else I want to go with my barbarian. I could keep grinding rifts, but I don't care. You know, I did that. Yeah. I did that on my Crusader, like the last time I played, and I got pretty high. Like for the amount of people that are on Diablo 3 playing, like, you know, I got higher than I expected to on my Crusader. So I was impressed by that and I was happy. But like, I don't have any reason to keep going with that. But like, I do feel like there's more to do in Diablo 2, but I would eventually burn out on that as well. So,
and there really isn't that much more to do. We essentially just have Ubers left.
Yeah, but I want to do it. I want to just like, it would be great to do Ubers once and actually win. And we need to get our characters better. I guess maybe we don't. I don't know. Maybe, I mean, honestly, yeah. I mean, my character is probably strong enough to do Ubers. We would just need more varieties of damage. So as long as Mason was good enough, we could probably do Ubers. In which case I would just be done with Diablo. Oh well, but it was interesting, and I'm glad we played it, and I'm glad that I should have stopped a little bit earlier than I did, but I'm glad that I did stop, because I was like, okay, I don't want to like kill myself over this game. Like, it's just like, I don't want to like, you know, I just don't want to like, I don't want to get completely burned out on Diablo 2 to the point where I never want to play it again. Like, I want to like be able to actually come back and play it at some point.
Yeah, and with the length of the leagues, I mean, we got like 6 months, so there's no rush, like path or anything.
Well, and that's the thing, is like, I don't think we ever.
Oh, there's not even a league, right?
Did we even play ladder? I don't think we did.
Didn't, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like, I'm never gonna make another character. I'm just gonna come back to the same one over and over.
And not playing on ladder means those free games they'll be numerous.
Yes, which is great. That's what I want.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, man. All right. So, anything else to say?
A little trip down nostalgia lane.
Yes.
A little 2-week trip. It was nice, but you know, it is firmly a nostalgic game, I think, at this point.
Yes, it is. It's coming back to your hometown. It's like, oh, some things are exactly the way you left them, and you remember why.
Yeah, it's like, oh, maybe they shouldn't have been the same.
It's like, oh man.
Yeah, we probably could have advanced in the last 2 decades.
Yeah. So are we gonna do music again next time?
Yeah, sure.
Unless you have something, I mean, yeah.
I don't have any other topics. I think I know the 2 albums I would recommend, so.
Oh, nice. I think I also do. So I think that maybe we're gonna do music next time.
Yeah, hell yeah. One of them is the Arcade Fire Suburbs album. And then I don't remember what my other one was, but I'm sure I'll figure it out.
I have 2 pairs that I'm considering. I'm considering doing the 2 This Town Needs Guns albums that I want you to listen to. Those would be interesting. Then there's also Oathbreaker. Like I might do Oathbreaker, and then I was gonna toss you a different Cult of Luna album for a very specific reason, and it's because both of those albums have a female vocalist.
Oh, nice. Hell yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, and I think that you'll enjoy that particular Cult of Luna album much more because it's got a female guest vocalist on the whole album.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, nice. So it's between those 2 pairs. I will decide which one it is, and that'll be what I put in the show notes. But yeah, man. All right. Excellent.
Yeah, this is good.
Yes. So we will continue to head into the east, always to the east.
Always to the east.
So fucking good.
Okay.